This video is yet one more example of creating functions in MATLAB, and actually I'll focus once again on converting a ready code into a function. So I'll use the couple of examples we did in week 4, where we did codes checking something or building something, and then I'll convert those into functions. So the first one was the one where we were checking for palindrome. And so in here we were taking in the input, so this would be the string which the user wants to be checked, and then the rest of the code basically does the checking, and then there is the displaying. So this could be treated, for instance, in a couple of ways. We could have this asking for input as part of the script itself, and then the checking goes to be a function, or we can have this input already as part of the function, so the function wouldn't actually need itself any inputs because it kind of asks for it through the input command. So let's try both. Remember that when you want to write functions within your code, then you should have your function at the end of the script. So that's why I'll write it here. And so I will have function. And now, again, for the output, what we can do is that since the idea was to say yes, no, whether it's a palindrome or not, and we were displaying text, so we could actually go both ways, that we can have our yes, no as an actual output argument, and additionally we actually print out the answer. So we had this f working as a flag. I will maybe comment this part. The one where we had a loop, we had f, which was representing exactly the answer yes or no. So that f for us would then be our actual kind of numerical output, even though it's logical in this case. And then we need the name, so I'll call it isPalindrome1 because I'll try 2 ways in here. Then we need the input argument, and that will be our string to be checked. And so I will take my code from here up to the displaying, paste it in here, and then end the function. So you see what I did is I removed the only thing that is actually varying in this code, which is the string to be checked. Everything else in here belongs to the algorithm. So checking the length of the string, setting the flag, and so on. There's nothing else that is actually numerically preset. So that's basically, again, how this converting into a function works, that you just remove anything that is variable in your task. And if there is anything variable, you just set it as input argument. So in here, that now I can try and call my isPalindrome here. 1. I'll use the same string x, and I want my output, so let's call it p1 maybe. So when I run it, MATLAB will ask me for the array to be checked. Let's try radar again. This code had something else, but yes, the answer for the radar is here. So we have the array is a palindrome, one coming from the code itself, because I haven't commented it out. The other one is coming from the actual call of the function. And additionally, we have this p1 output, which is logical, which exactly comes from this place in here that we are returning this flag as well as one of the output arguments. An alternative was to take that and not have input argument, but rather, we have to change the name, but rather ask for it here. So input, give an array. I will comment out now this other code, which is here for the moment. And I will comment out also now this one here, which is not a function. I'll actually remove it from here. So what will happen now when I run this code, now it would only call this function. Let me call also the other one. It's palindrome 2. And I don't need any inputs, so I can leave it empty like that. So now it will actually ask me for an array twice, because one ask comes from here to be used in the first function call, and the second one will come from within this second function. So after running, once again, we have given array, radar, and the other one, let's check door, for instance. And okay, now yeah, I remember, because in the other one I didn't preset here in the input. I forgot to add this option saying that we kind of force whatever input the user gives that to be converted into a string immediately. So now, once again, radar for the first one, and let's say door for the other one. Yes. So it works like that. And the other example we had in here was with building that matrix which had different values, and we were supposed to match the diagonal. So let's uncomment this one. So it was the one which had the biggest number on the diagonal, and then smaller and smaller towards the corners. I will now comment this part also so that it's not messing our code. So yes, this was the one where, for instance, for given 5, it was producing matrix such that on the diagonal there is the biggest number, and as we go away towards those edge corners, then it was going towards 1. So we could make it a function where this n is an input argument, and then everything else happens inside the code, inside the function. So once again, function, then the output will be our array, the resulting one, and I'll call it build matrix, and then n will be that input argument. So that's the variable kind of that influences how our output actually looks. So then I will cut away this piece of the code. I will paste it into the function and all I have to do is just call my function. So again, one of the easiest ways to call is when you take this piece of the definition line and just paste it in your script. So I do it in here. And again, to remind you, the fact that I called my output and input a and n within the function doesn't mean I have to do it the same way in here. So I can call this n1 or whatever else, just a name, and also my output can be called anything. So we run, and our A matrix is in here. So now you see nothing else is visible because everything else that was done within the function is actually hidden with the semicolons.